everyone. Welcome to the University of Queensland Presents Education Connect in association with CNBC TV 18 and News18.com. The COVID-19 global healthcare emergency has shown us just how connected the whole world is. The speed at which this pandemic has spread across the world has indeed been unprecedented. So on this special virtual conversation today, we are going to be talking about this shared future of ours. And we're also going to be talking to some of the leading educators from one of the world's top educational institutions that's creating positive change for a better tomorrow. We are joined today by experts and educators from the University of Queensland. That is, in fact, one of the top universities of the world, according to several independent rankings. It's also a university that's very well known for its innovation and research, and in fact has been working on a vaccine for COVID-19 for the last couple of months. So we're going to hear about all that and more from a panel of experts. Let me welcome Githesh Agarwal, Trade and Investment Commissioner, India, Queensland Government. Dr. Jessica Gallagher, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Global Engagement and Entrepreneurship at University of Queensland. Alison Jenkins, Director, Future Students, University of Queensland. Associate Professor Keith Chappell, Principal Research Fellow, Faculty of Science at the University of Queensland, and Sagar Bahadur, Principal Advisor, India, also from the University of Queensland. Welcome, everyone. Thanks very much for joining us here today. Keith, let me begin with you first. The world is indeed facing an unprecedented global healthcare crisis at this point. While there are certain countries that have shown signs of containment, Australia included there, New Zealand as well, there is a lot of anticipation around the world for this vaccine, particularly from India as well. We're seeing cases rising every day, and we are all eagerly waiting for that vaccine to come out. Your university, your researchers have been working on that vaccine since the early part of this year. Give us a sense of what you've been able to achieve so far, and what does the road ahead look like?
So we have been working on emergency response vaccines for some time now. We received funding from CEPI, the Coalition of Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, to put in place a method to respond extremely quickly to an outbreak. We never thought it would happen. We never thought this would be the situation we were in. But at the start of this year, of course, there was this outbreak. We began working the very day the sequence was released. And that was 5 months ago. We've been working since that time, and it's been amazing to see what we've achieved. We've gone from a purely sequence information to having a vaccine. We've shown that it works in animal models. We've shown that it's safe in animals as well. We've also shown that we can manufacture this in really large quantities, and we've signed on with a global manufacturer, CSL, who are planning to scale up to 100 million doses plus in the very short time. And we're about to enter human clinical trials in just over 2 weeks. We'll be dosing our first participants in a phase 1 trial.
Well, that's great to hear. Human clinical trials starting soon, but even as those go underway, how much time do you think, if they are successful, how much time would it roughly take for the vaccine to hit the market for production?
Yeah, so we've been working, as have many institutions and manufacturers around the world, to bring down the timelines as much as possible. The way we've done that is just planning for success. A vaccine takes time, and the reason why it takes time is because you need to go through certain safety and efficacy testing. So as soon as we know that this is safe and that it works, we'll be already well on the way to providing large-scale quantities.
Great. Wonderful to hear that. Well, the University of Queensland is one of Australia's top research-intensive educational institutions. It's renowned globally for its research impact, from developing an early warning surveillance system to track COVID-19 amongst communities, to identifying drug leads and fast-tracking a potential vaccine. There's a lot that your researchers have been doing. So tell us, what is it about the University of Queensland that attracts such top talented researchers like yourself to the university?
Yeah, so as you said, you put it really well. We are one of the top universities in Australia and in the world. We attract a huge amount of grant funding for research, and I could talk about all the statistics. But I think what really makes it is the community. We have a really vibrant research community with fantastic people, fantastic educators, the conversations, the people you meet, the students. It's just phenomenal.
Thank you so much for joining us here today. I know you're hard pressed for time. Thanks very much for sharing those insights into all that's happening on the development of the vaccine for COVID-19 in particular. Let me bring in Alison at this point. Why has Australia become such a popular study destination, particularly for higher studies? And will the current geopolitical situation in the world build this momentum to in fact make Australia a much better and much more preferred higher education destination going forward?
I think having Professor Keith on really explained why we're such a popular destination. It is because we do have world-class research, quality education, and it's a beautiful lifestyle. Australia has been popular for Indian students for about 15 years now, and I think it's only getting stronger and stronger, particularly with COVID. We're now in the top 2 destinations of choice for Indian students. And it really comes down to Indian students have many choices, and our lifestyle at the moment is beautiful. It's safe. It's the COVID situation is under control. So as soon as students can come here, they'll rest assured that, we don't have such a big issue. Health is very important to us. Our government got on top of it very quickly. But we've also got world-class universities. We've got 5 in the top 50 in the world, and University of Queensland is one of those. And that goes hand in hand. Our teaching and research is both world-class.
Sagar, do you think in general, as far as Indian students are concerned, there is a perception gap, when it comes to considering Ivy League schools in the US versus Russell Group institutions in the UK, alongside options within Australia for their higher education? What is the sort of perception gap that you've seen among students?
I'll start by saying that the general student community, as of today, is much more informed. Thanks to the internet, that whatever they want, they can find it. There are many social platforms that they already connect with existing students or graduated students. But then answering your question, yes, there is that small perception gap. Just in the optics, maybe because a few of us may not be aware in India of the kind of research, the kind of global impact, and the kind of excellence in academics that some Australian universities can deliver. I think just like you have the Ivy Leagues for the US, you have the Russell Group for UK, we have the Group of 8. Now, as the name suggests, it's a group of 8 leading research-focused Australian universities. And like how Alison mentioned, out of the 8, 5 of them are ranked in the top 50 in the world. So you can imagine we're talking about innovations like the MRI technology, a cervical cancer vaccine, possible work in the COVID vaccine, all happening at the University of Queensland. And I think it's very important for the larger Indian community to understand, the kind of global impact universities of Australia can bring in. And more importantly, how this research and how this culture really flows into the classroom, how students are benefited from this. So we're doing our part, and I'm sure, we'll continue to narrow this gap further.
Jessica, let me ask you, where does India currently stand for the University of Queensland in its global strategy? You have aspirants from all over the world vying to get into UQ. What is UQ's vision for India in particular?
Yeah, so India is incredibly important for the University of Queensland and is a priority country for us in terms of our global strategy. We already have strong academic and research collaborations, but we're keen to continue to build programs that support student mobility, that provide opportunities to build links with industry, and to really connect with some of the brightest minds around India. So bringing them together with the expertise that we have at UQ to really look at some of those global challenges and work collaboratively to develop solutions.
Jessica, I want to talk to you about the collaboration that you all have with IIT Delhi. Tell us a little more about that. How does it help PhD students gain global qualifications? And are there any other such projects planned for India or even other countries at this point?
Yeah, so UQ joined forces with IIT Delhi in September 28 to establish the Academy of Research. And a big focus of the Academy of Research is a collaborative and joint PhD program. So essentially with that program, students have supervision from one of the researchers at IIT Delhi and a researcher supervisor at UQ. We do have other types of collaborative PhD programs with other global universities, but nothing of the size and scale that we have with IIT Delhi. We're looking at graduating more than 250 PhD scholars over the next 10 years.
Wonderful to hear that. I want Gitesh also to weigh in on that. How important are these engagements with other institutions, industry partners, and the education community in particular?
Look, a student becomes a future citizen, and so the industry needs the student. The relevance of this ecosystem of the academia connecting to industry to students is so much a whole cycle in itself. I must share with you that a lot of research that comes out of the universities in Queensland has gone on to become real world projects. So while Saga mentioned some of them earlier, and vaccine development is the ongoing one, I must share that even in India, a lot of Queensland research has impacted, whether it's in mine safety, whether it's in tropical crop food processing, whether it's in growing agriculture. There is real world solutions being given out by universities out there.
Alison, we heard earlier from Professor Chappell that UQ's research is world leading, attracting the brightest minds to answer some of the world's toughest questions. For an Indian student in particular, considering studying at UQ, how does this whole experience transcend from the laboratory into the classroom?
I think Professor Chappell's example is just one of many. We have a lot of research going on here. We're a fully comprehensive university, so we're world leaders in many areas, and Professor Chappell's is just one. So those academics that are the world leaders are also teaching our students, so they have opportunities every day to engage with our academics that are leading the world in their research areas. So it's really exciting and inspiring for our students at the very first year of undergraduate level to the final year of postgraduate studies. They're constantly engaged with world leading researchers without a doubt on a daily basis. We have more teaching awards than any other university in Australia, and that's because they are the best in their field. They translate what they're doing in the lab or in their research into the classroom, which makes it much more meaningful and engaging for our students who are learning side by side with these brilliant academics. Students also get lots of opportunities to work alongside these researchers, and that's often a question that Indian students ask, is there opportunities in that space? And there definitely is at UQ. We're a huge university.
Alison, let me also ask you, UQ is of course known for creating positive change, and we would really like to know, how has UQ continued these world-class learning opportunities to students, as you are seeing students really wanting the programs of their choice? So amidst the lockdown, how have you continued learning? How have you kept it uninterrupted for students? And over the next couple of months, what can students on campus look forward to?
Well, I have to say the COVID-19 pandemic definitely threw us a curveball. We're a campus that students come to learn, and we teach face-to-face. That's always been our method of teaching. We've got over 3,000 individual courses and 300 programs. So we weren't geared up, to be honest, to be a fully online university as early as February. And when we realized that we had to shift to online very, very quickly, we closed the university for 1 week. Everyone on campus was focused on shifting to that online mode because there wasn't an alternative option. And, we've been talking about delivering online for many, many years, and we've developed a lot of edX programs, and we've got a learning and development department dedicated to digital delivery, but they have never been more important than in February this year. We put everything else down, we focused to shifting everything online, and we got 95% of our programs online in lightning speed. So the shift has been really quick and very well supported by our institution. We keep adding value to our online offerings. We think it's the way of the future. We do love our campus. We want students to be back here, but we know that students are really appreciating the flexibility of online delivery. So we're looking at how we can do that into the future, as well as have students on campus here.
Great, good to hear that that you've moved to online delivery of education with great agility. How has the feedback been in the last couple of months as far as online learning is concerned? And what really makes UQ different from other universities in Australia as well as in the world, considering that the university continues to top the charts, as far as several rankings are concerned?
I think that the biggest, what we are proud of at UQ is that we haven't compromised at all on quality and excellence. So the university is focused on knowledge leadership for a better world, and we're going to deliver that through our teaching and learning as well as our research. And as Alison said, we had to pivot very quickly and take our courses online, but throughout that, we've ensured that we've maintained an outstanding experience for our students. So in addition to the work that we've done around their courses, we've also developed a virtual village where students are able to access co-curricular, so fun programs and student support, so that they can remain connected, work with other students, work with staff, and ensure that they continue to have the most fantastic UQ student experiences possible. We've done the same thing for our research. We have not stopped. In fact, we've just continued to accelerate our engagement with global partners. And to some extent, we've taken that online. So lots of online research seminars, virtual hackathons and design jams, ways that we continue to be innovative, even in these challenging times. And we're bringing that to our students and to our partners in India as well.
Sagar, to ask you, what opportunities can aspiring students from India have at the University of Queensland? Is there any support that's given by UQ to deserving students to, really go abroad and fulfill their dreams and graduate from one of the top 50 universities of the world?
So yeah, Mridu, firstly, the Indian students form a very important cohort, in the international portfolio that we have. They add beautifully to the diversity that we offer. And there are many ways that Indian students can be part of UQ. We're talking about certifications, more largely bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, doctoral programs, and we're talking about almost all disciplines that we can offer. There are also programs and ways, pathways basically, where students from our partner universities in India, they can in between join UQ and complete their degrees, with us. Also, in terms of support, when you ask, we have a very strong support infrastructure in India to help guide these students, help them find the right options for them. So that's in place. We also value meritorious talent. So a lot of merit-based scholarships available for Indian students to fulfill their dreams.
Gitesh, let me ask you, how is Queensland placed to supplement international student outcomes and their future goals from a whole career perspective?
We just launching the Study Queensland Talent Program globally, which is to promote Queensland as a leading destination for supporting, enabling, and showcasing global talent. The 6 components of that strategy is giving them experiential learning activities, scaling the digital learning opportunities, building professional skills, provision of a Queensland government-backed non-award micro-credentials, supported and led by Queensland's extensive network across, and of course, showcasing Queensland's global talent with employers. We are looking at connecting employers and the students while they're studying so that they can build real-life skills, do research, which is real-life research for businesses. We just worked with the University of Queensland to deliver digital learning empowerment to 1,000 teachers in India from across 100 schools over the last 4 days to bring value addition into the country here.
Alison, given the current COVID-19 scenario, what are the top 2 or 3 options that Indian students have, those who are considering education abroad? Of course, and would you say that beyond the pandemic, this whole mixed model of learning, partially online, partially on campus, is perhaps here to stay in the long term?
I think students will know exactly what to do to get ahead. And I say get on with it. Get online. It's the way of the future. If you can't be here now, don't delay it. Just start. Get used to online learning, because I think, it's an online world now. So the more you are comfortable in this space, the better off you'll be in the long run. So forever now. It's not a thing that we want to stop doing. We know it's effective in many ways.
Sagar, can you also throw some light on the various learning initiatives that are offered by UQ, particularly for teachers training and leadership development? And are these courses that Indian students are really thronging to?
Okay, so I mean, Ritu, I can talk about this the whole day. This is one of the most satisfying parts of what we do here in India. I'm proud to mention that UQ has a much bigger vision for India. It goes beyond the traditional mindset of student recruitment. And I think there is that sincere intent to contribute to the education fabric of India. We've been deeply engaged in multiple activities over some time now. We're talking about activities ranging from leadership development, teacher training initiatives, entrepreneurship boot camps for students, STEM programs designed for schools and institutions. And I think it's very important to note that all this is not happening while we're sitting in a lockdown or while we're facing this situation. We've been doing this continuously. Basically, in the last 1 year, I feel we have delivered and co-created so much of knowledge with our partners in India that would have impacted thousands of teachers, thousands of educators, students. And I think they've all liked. And I can only say that I think we like to be busy to work and support our partners in India.
Right. Well, on that note, we are completely timed out on this conversation. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here today. And to all those students who are aspiring to go abroad and pursue higher education this year, stay hopeful, stay resilient, and good luck to you for the road ahead. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.